Welcome to Your Best Life podcast, where we help you discover your calling so you can live with purpose and clarity. We're Pete and Julie Morrill, your guides, mentors, and lifelong adventurers, and we're here to help you find your true north. Hello again, everyone. In this episode, you're coming with us to Kauai, Hawaii. We invited another couple to join us in Kauai last summer. It was a time to break away and think about what our True North Quest nonprofit organization was really going to feel and look like, especially in terms of experiencing a taste of a retreat workshop in an exotic location. It was a confirming time for us as we prayed and asked God if this was what He wanted us to do, and felt His answer as we were able to coach this couple and help them make some life-changing decisions. And they encouraged us to expand our coaching to more people. And a shout out to Aaron, who inspired us to start this podcast to do exactly that. First of all, you can't lose when you're at a coaching retreat in beautiful Hawaii. But second, this retreat made us feel that we really are stepping into God's calling for us to help you fulfill your calling.
And I'd just like to know what person or event in your life you think shaped you the most.
I was praying one day, and I feel like God showed me that a really formative moment. Like, I feel like God showed me this, and I didn't really realize it about myself. But I was in the gym of the church that I grew up in, and it was a carpeted gym. Why are the gyms carpeted in churches in the 80s? I don't know. But so I was in there, and I'm like 8 or 9 years old or something, and you know, my dad's at work, and so I'm just like playing in the gym with nobody else there, and I just started singing, and then the janitor came in, and he was actually kind of like a pseudo grandfather to me, and he said, "Sounds good, Aaron." And I was just enjoying the echoing and the singing, and God showed me that I was really like enjoying His presence, and then I feel like it was the Father, God the Father, speaking that to me. And I've sung my whole life, and I still love singing. I connect through God through singing like that, you know. So, yeah. Thanks for asking.
Yeah,
sounds good, Aaron.
Thank you.
The question is, who are the people or maybe the events that most molded you as you were growing up?
I can tell you, Pete, that the event that I remember so vividly was Coach Tardew. And Coach Tardew, at the end of my sophomore year, I had caught a pass in the open field. I'd never done sports until high school. But he came into me, he made a special visit to me, which he had never done before. And he came and he got my attention, and all he said was, "Watson," which is my last name, "you can be a player." And it was the way he said it. I actually believed that I had real potential. That short sentence, that little visit, was one of the greatest impacts of my life. And I went on to have 2 full ride scholarships for college, and that was just an incredible memory, one of many that was very formative in my life.
So I already asked Aaron, I'll ask the rest of you guys, what's a passion that you've had since you were a small child that has followed you most of your life? You feel like it's an unusual passion for somebody to have for that period of time?
Well, definitely singing. That one is just an easy answer for me. It's definitely followed me throughout my life, and every season I've always done singing.
Identify it?
My parents.
Okay.
My parents are both singers, and so I first identified it with them, and they identified it in me.
Gotcha.
And so music was a part of like our family's lives and everything. So
How are art and music part of your calling?
everyone can do a task. There's a lot of singers, but then what are you trying to accomplish? Like, what's your main passion that's driving the vehicle of singing, or the vehicle of, like, Julie, you were a teacher for a long time, and you were a camp director for a long time. I was actually journaling about this the other day, Julie, so thanks for asking. I really want people to encounter God. That has been my main passion through singing. It's hard for me to talk about myself like this, but I think people encounter God when I sing. I've been in singing and leading large groups of people, And I'm like, how can I be singing right now and facilitating this time of singing and music so that as many people as possible are just taking steps closer to encountering God. And then also seeing who He is rightly. When we see Him, we become like Him. And yeah, so you were having a light bulb moment too.
Yeah, I was.
And so what was happening for you like, how was this light bulb going off for you in that moment?
It was confirmation from God, just saying, this is what I called you to do. You've been asking me for decades, what's your calling? This is your calling. And the calling is to help other people find their calling, which is so random. No wonder I was so obsessed with finding my calling, because I want everyone to find their calling. That's really condensing it, but it was really a moment of like probably an hour with 7 people where they all had light bulb moments, and I'm like, how is this happening?
Wow.
They all know what they're supposed to do with their lives now after an hour. So I felt empowered at that point, like, God, you're on this, and I'm just going to do this for the rest of my life. This is what I'm called to do.
That's so amazing, Julie, because a lot of times we tend to disqualify ourselves. And even people watching this may look and go, oh, they have something that I don't. I can assure you, after all of us spending time together, we don't have anything that you don't. We are just normal people. We love God. We're daring to take steps of faith, which equals risk. And I would love to know, Pete, just what are some of the risks that you feel? I love the word risk because to me that's where the rubber meets the road on this concept of faith. Tell me some of the risks that you've taken and are taking that are bringing life, and what that looks like, as you were saying, Aaron, in this season of going, hey, I don't want to do an Uncle Rico that's looking back on former chapters going, I remember the glory days. I want to write a new chapter. What are some things you're taking risks with now?
Well, I think the most obvious one would be our business.
Yeah.
We've got a business that has been successful for years.
Yeah.
And it's on the decline right now because of some outside environmental factors. And what would make the most sense is just to buckle down and work super hard to make that successful. But I don't think it's consistent. I project 5 years, and I see a healthy business.
Yeah.
But I see a fairly diminished self.
Yeah.
I feel deflated with the prospect of just a healthy business.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem
Existence.
Yeah, it just seems like, okay, I've done that. I've been there. I know that I can do that. And that would be maybe the smartest, financially for sure, the smartest thing to do. But about 3 months ago, we decided to put our home up for sale, which our business is based on our home, and say to God, we're at a crossroads. If you want to take away the business and away the home, we're okay with that. And to be honest with you, when we made that decision, it felt like, okay, this is in a line with who I am.
Yeah.
One, because of risk. I am a risk taker.
Yeah.
2, because I think I'm walking more towards what I'm being called. I think Julie and I, about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, really defined really well what we were called to do. Mm-hmm. And then once you do that, then it feels like you've got the future out there.
Yeah.
But why aren't you stepping towards it more deliberately? And that's what kind of haunted both of us. And so I felt like, okay, here we're going to step more deliberately, even though we don't think it's all figured out. We don't think it's all worked out. And for me, it feels risky. But I guess in my personality, it feels more risky to do the other, to just live by the status quo and just try to do something that I've already done. Because I get 10 years down the road and I say,
what does my life look like?
Yeah, it's a healthy business, but it's
You're not fulfilled.
I'm not fulfilled. Yeah, I'm not doing what I think is in my strike zone and in what God has given me to do. So, yeah.
Can I say something about that? Like, you guys are you have momentum. You guys are taking putting your lives on the line, all your resources, all of your time, to create a place to follow your calling. So this is just so powerful for me. So when you're inviting people to come along with you, they are going to be in the wake of your momentum. They have no choice but to also, not choice, they will be moved along in your momentum, because you guys are leading this already. And so come on this cruise, people. Look, like you guys are laying your life down to find your calling, the one that God has called you to do. And so the fruit that comes past that will be the same. So I really commend you guys for that. That's powerful.
What's interesting is, I think Julie would attest to this, 2 or 3 months ago, we would have said momentum is absolutely the opposite of what we had.
Wow.
It was interesting because we had vision, but we had disappointment after disappointment after disappointment, because we were largely focusing in on the business, right? And we were trying to say, once the business gets healthy, then we're going to step towards what we're being called to do. And then we just shifted, and it was just a small shift to say, no, we're going to step towards what we're called to do, and we're going to let the business get healthy or not get healthy. And that's where the momentum started to come. And it was slow at first, wouldn't you say? And now I think, especially this week, has really increased the momentum.
So one thing I do want to say, though, is for the last maybe 2 years, we've had no momentum, like you said, and it just felt like arduous. But I committed to working on True North, something related to True North, for even 5 minutes a day. Literally, sometimes that's all I put in. 5 minutes a day for maybe months at a time. But hey, at least we're moving forward incrementally.
Well, like we talked about, 18 minutes a day puts you in the top 90 percentile in that activity. So, that is one of the most important things for success. And, as we think about these cruises, everybody goes on vacation to beautiful places. Why not come on a vacation that is going to unlock who you are for the rest of your life? And we all need people and places to do that. And I know that that's really the vision of what you've laid out, Pete and Julie, that I know that we're on board with is, man, let's not just have success like you talked about, Pete, in our finances. I want to be fully alive. And I think a lot of people, even who you've spoken with, Julie, really resonate with that, saying, man, I have success in my pocketbook, but what about my health? I have success in my workspace, but you know what about my fitness? I have, we live in a culture that spends half of their life to attain wealth and then gives it back in the medical system. And I think there's some real tools that we can hand out to say, now is the time to live in your calling. Now is the time. It's not time to wait in this season. It's a time now to be like us, who took a step of faith to even come here. And it's amazing because you've outlined, Pete and Julie, that this week has been an amazing financial week. Isn't that the way that it works? That somehow when I got healthy, and the same thing, we were contacted by a client here on this business trip. And so those steps of faith may feel scary at first, but it's incredible that when you step to be fully alive and to contribute to the world with who you are, things just fall into line.
I want to ask Pete a question.
Okay. I just have another thing to say is it is scary for us to come here, partly because our business is in a downturn right now.
Yeah.
But for us to take the risk to, first of all, we have travel points on our credit card, so the trip is mostly paid for. But still, it's risky because we're not working on our business.
Bingo, yeah.
So we feel separated from it, and we're trusting God in that. But also to have God prove that He can take care of us by having our house being requested to be rented out. Amazing. While we're gone.
That's so fun.
That is really a blessing.
Worth maybe $12,000.
Worth about $12,000. Wow. Well, that more than pays for our trip
and
here.
And a puppy sold as well.
Exactly. But one thing I wanted to say is I'm looking forward to True North yes, we're going to bless others in our trip when they come, because they are learning how to find their calling.
Yeah.
And also with work partnering with you guys, I'm getting the benefit of, okay, I can go on a cruise with you guys and I'm going to lose weight and get in better shape because we need it too.
Come on.
I mean, what kind of motivation is that? Of course I want to go on a cruise where I'm going to lose weight on a cruise. I mean, how often does that happen?
Yeah. We actually did get more fit when we went on our honeymoon. And I was working out with this woman who's a bodybuilder, and she's like, who gets more fit on their honeymoon? I was like, I don't know. We do. But yeah, I just wanted to, in the same way that I like turned it towards you, I just wanted to introduce Pete a little bit. But so Pete, you are a former camp director.
Yeah.
You've been in leadership in many capacities, and you're like in and out of the church, and you kind of are a leadership junkie. You listen, I've heard you say you listen to podcast after podcast, and you're just like wanting to form good leaders. You're wanting to be a good leader. And I really see you as, and you men could go off on this, is like, and I read a book about it, that our generation is just fatherless. It's uniquely fatherless, because, you know, previous generations, all the men went off to war, so that was a type of fatherlessness. And now there's no war, the fathers are here, but I think there's a lot, men need to be built up, and women need to be built up too, but specifically men. The things when you're sharing your heart, as we've gotten to know you guys, I'm like, people need both of you, but I'm just seeing the whole of fathers and men and everything, and I'm just like, people need how you carry the father's heart, God the Father. And the Father is you could go, I feel like you don't even realize how powerful the Father's heart is in you, and like how much just you're exuding that in just how you approach people. And so I just wanted to honor you and just explain and just feedback and be a witness to who you guys are and to what you guys are. When people come on a True North Quest trip, this is what they're getting. They're getting a true father who's committed his heart to be the best leader possible for years, with many organizations. And yes, and so, okay, I don't know what you would share, but I wanted to hear a bit of an origin story for you about why you're passionate about mentoring, fathering, leadership.
Maybe this will help. So I was a camp director for 20 years. Yeah. And when you're a camp director, you work with 20 to 40 college age, hard charging, want to change the world with their life people. Yeah. And we could select, and so we think we selected some of the best. And during that time, what's great about camp ministry is it's 24/7, so you cannot fake things for very long. Not for a week. And so sometimes the facade on some of these college kids would fall a little bit, and so you would kind of encourage them to perhaps grow up, perhaps to think of other people a little bit, perhaps to think of the mission rather than themselves. But I think the favorite thing that I did at the end of the summer was I did Pete's Pearls of Wisdom. And I said, this is what your parents would like to tell you. But because of time or because of awkwardness or because of a whole bunch of other dynamics, they probably haven't told you. And I would go through money, and I would go through relationships, and I would go through education, and I'd give them 2 or 3 points under each of those things. And I said, if you do this, this will make it better in the long run. And it was fun because some of the older college kids, especially as they were just about to graduate, you could see not every subject hit with everybody, but you could see light bulbs come on, and they would want to talk further about that. And you could see during the time when I first started introducing Pete's Pearls of Wisdom, the people that were there last year would say, you need to listen to this. So it was just kind of fun, and probably what an honor to speak with 30 or 40 college students and say, if you want to live life smart, here's what you should think about when it comes to who you date, when it comes to who you spend time with, when it comes to your education and how you invest your money, when it comes to how you think about your future. And I think that for me was kind of the origin story of True North.
Wow.
We probably got maybe 5
Yeah.
minutes.
Well, I think we're going to land the ship here for today, and so I would just say that True North and Revival and Romance, we have tools on life. There's tools on calling. There's tools on fitness. There's tools on your love life. I think in general we really want to hand people things that will unlock the abundant life, that will unlock their best selves, that will unlock the joy of serving. And so we are taking that journey authentically, and we are inviting other people to take that journey with us. So it's been such a pleasure today to just sit here. Hey, it's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it here in Kauai in front of this water feature, and it's going to be a fun ride. So come along with us, everybody.
Can I say
Cool.
something too?
Oh, sorry. She has one more thing.
Well, it doesn't. Yeah, I'm just. I'm really excited about the season of life that you're both in, and people. You guys have spent time and laid your life down to give people the finest wine of your entire life is being poured out into these trips. And as I hear you talk about it, I'm like, I see father and sons coming on this trip. I see people in your age category coming on this trip. I see like retired football players coming on this trip that need to find their purpose. I see
Linebackers, y'all. Linebackers right here.
and I see youth. I see young married couples. Everybody needs this equipping. And so I'm just thankful for you guys putting in this faith-filled work, building this ark when no one, like Noah, when there's no rain yet. And so I'm really excited. Yeah.
Amen.
Okay, one tiny thing, but I was just thinking how Pete and I have a heart for people who've gone through divorce and tough marriages and are in need of healing and also finding new romance. I would love to do. I can't. I'm not a professional matchmaker, but we would love to see more people find their mate, because once you find the right one, it's so good to cultivate that relationship when you find the one that you're supposed to be married to.
And what better place than a cruise to cultivate that,
Come
right?
find a true love.
All right, you guys. Well, this has been so fun. To be continued, y'all. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks. We want to take a moment to thank our sponsors. Today's episode of Your Best Life was brought to you by True North Quests, helping you discover your calling so you can live a life filled with purpose. Find out more at tnadventures.org, where you can book an appointment with a calling coach, learn about upcoming True North Quest workshops, and more. And by Marble Mountain Kennels, where exceptional Labrador Retrievers are bred and trained for adventure, companionship, and service. Visit mmkennels.com to meet your new best canine friend. And by Julie's Creative Classroom, providing fun educational games and digital products for students in Julie's online Creative Classroom TPT Teachers Pay Teachers store. Thank you for joining us today. Until next time, remember your best life starts with knowing your calling and finding your true north.